This week on the podcast, Bob Iger takes a pay cut. The FastPass Plus system extends its window. And we now have an opening date for the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. All that and more coming up on this week's Go Ask Mickey podcast.
Howdy, folks. Please keep your hands and arms inside the train and remain seated at all times.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
This is the Go Ask Mickey podcast.
To infinity and beyond!
Helping you with the tips, tricks, and the tools needed to save you time and money on your next Disney vacation.
Where is my super suit?
If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, send them to goaskmickey@gmail.com.
It's March 5th, 2019, and you're listening to the Go Ask Mickey podcast. My name is Jerry from goaskmickey.com, and joining me in the 38 studios, along for the ride this week, is the world-famous Fast Eddie. Welcome, everyone, to this week's show. Thank you for downloading, tuning in, and listening. On this week, we will be discussing a lot of news that came about this past week with the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. A lot of tours went on this past week over at Disneyland, and a lot of information came out about what this land is going to be like. Now, first off, we're going to head over and we're going to see what this week's Parks Planning Forecast has. If you're planning on going down to the parks in Walt Disney World in the next couple weeks, you're going to want to pay attention to what is changing and what's on the horizon over there. So let's get to that first. All right, today starts the beginning of Mardi Gras, as well as this weekend will be the start of spring break season. So if you're going down soon, there's going to be a lot of stuff you're going to need to know because it's going to be very crowded and you want to make the best of your time. We're going to try to keep you updated as far as all the information you need for the refurbs. Now, let's start off with the Magic Kingdom. Now, Magic Kingdom, the refurbs are going on right now. Our Stitch's Great Escape has been closed and it's possibly permanent. The Walt Disney World Railroad will be closed until further notice. That's been closed since December of last year. Tomorrowland Speedway has been closed since January 2nd and will reopen as of May 18th of this year. The Casey's Junior Splash and Soak Station is closed as well. And over at Epcot, there seems to be the O Canada film is being updated, and that has no date as of today, as well as the Beauty and the Beast sing-along still does not have an opening date for that. And the new Circle Vision 360 over at the China Pavilion will debut. We don't know yet. That is to be determined. Over at Hollywood Studios, Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy will be open this month, March 31st. So if you're planning on going in the next few weeks, check that one out because that's going to be very popular. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway should be opening this fall. No date is set. And the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is yet to be determined, and we're going to talk about that later on as far as the date for that. Heading over to Animal Kingdom, the Cali River Rapids will be closed from January 7th all the way till March 22nd. So in a couple weeks, you can get on that ride. And Rafiki's Plant Watch is closed seasonably. We don't know when that will reopen. And that pretty much sums up the refurbs around the parks. Like I said before, well, the park hours have probably increased a little bit coming up in the next few weeks because of spring break. And it is going to be a lot more crowded for the, spring break crowds to be hitting the parks. All right, the resorts pretty much have their refurbs pretty much done. The Caribbean Beach, and they're still working on the Riviera, as well as the gondola system is still being worked on. Should be opening soon. There is no date for that. Now, there are some other refurbs coming to Walt Disney World starting this month. Now, the Bippity Boppity Boutique, that's a tough one, over at the Magic Kingdom, continues to be a hugely popular destination for young ladies. And in an effort to increase the capacity, Disney is beginning to work in a few weeks that will add more chairs to this location. So they're going to add a lot more chairs to add in more guests. Now, there's also a very special magic mirror that they're going to be putting in that will allow guests to experience a special transformation that will help them choose what outfits and accessories that they're going to be picking. Now, the Magic Kingdom location will remain open during this enhancement, and the existing reservations that are out will not be affected. So, if you have a reservation, you're coming down the next couple months, you do not have to worry. But if you're coming down the next couple months and you haven't had a chance to get a reservation, this is going to be a lot easier to get. Also, the Ivy Trellis Salon over at the Disney's Grand Floridian is going to be the new location for another Bippity Boppity Boutique. It is currently in the Grand Floridian, and it will itself relocate into the Senses over at the Disney Spa. There's no opening date for this additional location, and it will be announced whether this third Bippity Boppity Boutique will likely be open at the Grand Floridian before the end of this year. So if they're probably going to be working on that real soon, and you might be able to get a reservation over at the Grand Floridian for a new Bippity Boppity Boutique probably at the end of this year. So that creates 3 Bippity Boppity Boutiques, one at Disney Springs, one at the Magic Kingdom, and one at Grand Floridian. Liberty Square over at Fantasyland in the Magic Kingdom, their walkway is getting a makeover. Magic Kingdom experts often use the shortcut walkway that connects Liberty Square to Fantasyland behind Cinderella's castle to avoid some of the more congested areas of the park. And even though this is used to be fairly seldom used walkway, with the Magic Kingdom becoming more and more populated in recent years, this walkway has become very crowded. Now, especially for guests trying to get around during the parades and the performances of the Royal Friendship Fair, it really does get really crowded in there. Now, fortunately, Disney will be refurbishing this area in the next coming weeks and expanding this walkway to accommodate additional guests. Work is expected to start soon and continue for the next few weeks. The completion date will be later this fall for a bigger walkway. Over at Hollywood Studios, the Legends of Hollywood store at Disney's Hollywood Studios in the Sunset Boulevard area will be currently closed so that the interior can be remodeled and extended into the former Planet Hollywood Superstore space that is next door. The expanded Legends of Hollywood store is expected to reopen this summer of 2019, and the Planet Hollywood location at Hollywood Studios closed permanently a few weeks ago, and guests who want to purchase merchandise, what was formerly available, can still visit the Planet Hollywood Superstore over at Disney Springs. And that pretty much sums up the refurbs going around this week in the parks. Now, the crowd calendars we're going to get into next. Now, today's crowd calendar is 5 out of 10. That pretty much stays on point until this weekend where everything explodes. We're looking at 7 out of 10s all for this weekend. And then the next couple of weeks, we're looking at 8 out of 10s, 7 out of 10s. So it's starting to get crowded. spring break crowds are arriving, and temperature-wise, it's pretty good. It's staying this week. It looks like it's going to be in anywhere from the 60s to the 80s. Some rain. So that's not bad. It's looking promising. Spring has pretty much arrived at Florida. Weather is looking good. And that pretty much sums up our parks planning forecast. You have any questions, comments, suggestions? Send them on over to goaskmickey@gmail.com. If you could, follow us on Twitter, over at Instagram as well, and like us and follow us on Facebook.
You're listening to the Go Ask Mickey podcast.
Oh my God!
Disney's CEO Bob Iger has agreed to cut future pay by nearly $13.5 million. Now, the Walt Disney Company said Monday that the chief executive Bob Iger has agreed to slash his future pay by up to $13.5 million, including cuts to his performance-based salary. Now, the Mouse House revealed that it had decreased to $35 million what Iger could earn after the company completed its $71 billion merger with 21st Century Fox. The $35 million in compensation is down 28% from the $48.5 million a year, the pay he previously set for the Disney CEO. So, $48.5 million a year was his baseline. The move includes trimming the performance-based bonus pay. So now this is his bonus pay. The pay decision was included in the SEC filing ahead of an annual meeting slated for Thursday. A lot of things are happening Thursday. Pay attention. That will let investors vote on Iger's compensation on an advisory basis. Now, last year, 52% of the Disney shareholders voted down Iger's pay package, which experts estimated to be worth $300 million over a 4-year period. Now, at that time, Disney's head of the compensation, Alwyn Lewis, said the company would take the results of the vote under advisement for the future CEO's compensation. Now, Disney did not give a reason for the new adjustment to Iger's remuneration. Now, according to Monday's filing, Iger's updated yearly base salary will now drop by $500,000 to $3 million. Disney also plans on estimating the annual $8 million increase in the exec's year target bonus. This guy makes $8 million a year in a bonus, maintaining it at a $12 million. The media giant will also cut Iger's annual long-term incentive awards to $20 million from $25 million. So he loses that, $5 million. Despite the cuts, the 68-year-old Disney boss is still among the highest-paid CEOs of any public trade U.S. company, according to Bloomberg Pay Index. Now, last year, Iger's total compensation expanded 80% to $65.6 million. That's what he got last year. That's on top of the $36.3 million he earned in 2017 and the $43 million he earned the year before that. Let that sink in for a little bit.
Hey there, all you space cowboys! This is Graham Yoder, and you're listening to WSWW, the official transmitting location here at Tashi Station. And now for the latest news.
All right, we're moving on with Fast Passes. Now, there are some confirmed and some rumored changes that are coming to the Fast Pass Plus system. No matter whether you love or hate Fast Pass Plus, here are all the small perks and the adjustments that are being made to the system that you need to know about, as well as a big rumor that could affect how guests are able to book Fast Pass Plus reservations for the new attractions in Galaxy's Edge. Now, back in 2017, Disney expanded its 60-day extended Fast Pass Plus reservation benefits to all 7 of the non-Disney owned Disney Springs hotels. And now it looks like Disney is opening up this benefit to even more non-Disney properties, as the 1,000-room Hilton Orlando Bonnet Creek and the 500-room Waldorf Astoria hotels can now make Fast Pass Plus reservations using this extended booking window. Now, in addition to the extra Fast Pass Plus booking time, guests staying at these 2 hotels will also be able to visit theme parks during extra magic hours and will be issued special vouchers at the check-in that will allow them to take advantage of this additional perk as well. So what does that mean? That means there are going to be more and more people in the parks at the extra magic hour windows. Another Fast Pass Plus loophole that was recently closed, the cancellation policy for guests who remove their hotel reservation has closed another Fast Pass loophole that allowed resort hotel guests to make early Fast Pass Plus reservations by using a ticket that was no longer than a resort stay. So, however, under the new policy, if guests have a ticket longer than the resort stay, they will need to wait until the 30-day pre-arrival booking the window to make an additional Fast Passes, which means that a 14-day ticket and a 60-day pre-arrival booking window, the earliest Fast Pass Plus pre-booking window for a standard hotel stay is now 74 days. This leads into the next story about a rumor. Let's say this is a rumor. Disney's considering adding more paid Fast Pass Plus options for the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. More guests don't qualify to use it, but Disney World currently offers club-level resort guests the ability to purchase 3 additional Fast Pass reservations to use on a given day of their vacation. Now, these 3 additional Fast Passes cost $50 per day per person and can be booked 90 days ahead of a visit, now making them extremely valuable for guests who want to make sure they have first access to the most popular Fast Pass selections available. Now, however, though their experience is an expensive upcharge that has been in place for some time, a rumor popped up in the recent few days, ever since all the Star Wars and Galaxy's Edge past week has come out, that seems to hint that Disney is considering adding yet another paid Fast Pass option this summer in an effort to give guests visiting Star Wars Galaxy's Edge this summer the ability to essentially pay to skip the lines at what will certainly be the most popular rides on property. Now, we don't know what this potential new paid Fast Pass system might look like, or how even Disney would separate these additional paid Fast Passes from the regulars. The introduction of a new type of paid Fast Pass reservation specifically for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge might not be such a bad idea, as it will allow guests whose one goal is to experience this land the ability to guarantee access to both new Star Wars rides. Now, as long as a free option still exists, and Disney continues to offer extra magic hours, as well as early morning magic and after hours upcharge events, Disney will hopefully be able to stagger the amount of guests flooding into the Star Wars land. Now, Galaxy's Edge, when it opens later this year, everyone will get the chance to explore the Black Spire outpost. Of course, this is just a rumor for now, and Disney could leave the paid Fast Pass option to its deluxe club level guests, but we're definitely going to keep an eye out for any developments regarding the expansion of paid Fast Pass Plus, especially after the opening of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland this summer. Alright, what do you guys think? Do you think Disney is going to come out with some paid Fast Passes? It's going to be interesting to see what they're going to come up with. Now, the opening date, speaking of Star Wars, the opening date for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is to be announced this Thursday, March 7th, and the Florida date is going to be moved up. Now, with the opening of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland Park edging even closer, lots of news is brewing, and we now know specifics about ride details, the merchandise, the food, the beverages, the blue milk, all that stuff in the new land. Now, Disneyland Park cast members recently got a unique preview of what the costumes across the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge will look like as well. Soon, we will have an idea of when we will actually get to see the land, or at least getting in line for it. After years of announcements and months of close anticipation, an official opening date for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, at least for Disneyland, and maybe for Disney World as well, will reportedly be released this Thursday, March 7th, during the Walt Disney World Company's annual meeting of shareholders, which will be 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Now, for those wondering why Florida might end up wrapping up in this announcement, it's because things have supposedly gone very well as of late with the Disney's Hollywood Studios version of the land. If sources are to be believed, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge will open in Florida in September-October, with preview events set to start in late July. Now, a lot of still has to go right for this to happen, but it could be possible. Now, Bob Iger said the Disneyland Parkland will open officially in June. Now, he made that announcement a while back, and we will be announcing the date as soon as it is released, so be sure to check out Facebook pages, check out our Twitter. So if you plan on going down and you want to be a part of the Galaxy's Edge phenomenon this year, pay attention on March 7th, because they will most likely be announcing the date for this to be opened. And apparently it's been going along really quickly. If you've seen any videos of anything, this land is really coming to be put together very quickly, as well as the gondolas. The gondolas have been, if you've noticed, have been coming along real quickly. A lot of the constructions at the resorts have come along very quickly, so things are starting to pick up, and we're kind of down to the last mile. So pay attention this week, and hopefully we'll have a date to be released as the opening of Walt Disney World's Galaxy's Edge. All right, that is it for this week's show. Thank you for listening, downloading, and joining in with us. If you could, head over to iTunes, give us a rate and review over there. This helps us be seen, be heard, be noticed. But that is it. That is it for this week's show. Check us out over at Facebook. Give us a like over there, as well as Twitter and Instagram. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, anything you want to get off your chest, send them on over to goaskmickey@gmail.com. And that is it for this week. Till next time, everybody. Those are the words, people.
Head on over to goaskmickey.com or check us out on Facebook or leave us a review on iTunes.